How's everything with you?
Good, good. Um, yeah, I don't know. Have a hackathon thing at work next week, so it's a positive thing.
Did you finish your advent of code F sharp?
Um, no, I've done like 7 puzzles so far. Yesterday's I didn't get to because I was just I don't know. I was interested in prepping for this uh, hackathon thing, and then today I haven't started today's yet, but otherwise I've been doing all right with it. I think I've got some of the bait like it doesn't feel clumsy anymore to write some basic stuff in it. There's still like probably a lot of stuff I need to learn about how to do things better, but all in all, it's I don't know. I like it. I haven't gotten into type definitions much yet and dealing with that yet. I did make a stupid mistake and try to build out a tree structure with immutable data structures. That was the stupidest thing I've done. 'Cause it's like you,
Yeah, I don't think you want to do that.
no, because if you change anything in like deep in the nodes, like you have to go all the way up the tree to change the base to have the new thing that you just added, and then yeah, so you have to rebuild the entire chain up.
I think closure accommodates that need. I think better than F sharp.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but closure is such a huge paradigm shift compared to like F sharp way of doing things.
hmm.
They both have a cult following. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next year you can do your advent of code and closure.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like anything that's associated with the JVM. I just don't like Java or Oracle. Anything Oracle touches really. I just can't stand it. I don't know why. It,
I think you mentioned this in the last session that we had.
yeah, it might bring back memories of certain like stuff I did early in my career, which was just dumb. And not because I was dumb, but because I was like had some architects that were bad. So maybe I got it bad that it's bad in my head from that, but I don't know. It just always felt like it was hard to get things going versus just like .NET where everything felt so easy and like fluid.
That's enterprise in general.
Yeah. But even with .NET Core and stuff, it still feels really simple. So,
I'm going balls deep in Palumi right now. My contract ended Monday,
mm-hmm.
and so like since Wednesday, I've been investing probably about 4 hours a morning and trying to get the infrastructure as code piece uh, completed for my beach delivery.
Hmm.
It's interesting. It's a journey. I'm doing syntactical gymnastics between F Sharp and Palumi's API to try to get things to work. But yeah, then I'm gonna write probably some blog posts on it.
Cool. Yeah, infrastructure as code and all that stuff is something I've never really got into. But I don't know. I guess
It,
maybe I could if I understood it better, had access to things that I need to have access to be successful with it. But
it looks approachable. Like I mean, right now I'm doing like syntactical gymnastics, trying to spin up these service bus topics and subscriptions in Azure. So far, I've only been able to spin up an Azure resource group and an Azure service bus resource.
mm-hmm.
But then when I'm trying to reference the service bus namespace value for my topics and subscriptions, it's barfing because of whatever naming convention, whatever naming value that Palumi assigns. that is different from the actual name that I assign.
Hmm.
It's interesting, and I mean, I'm doing most of it in F sharp, and it's forcing me to use some of the patterns that I forgot about to do certain things based on constraints.
Hmm.
It's, this is me drawing diagrams and telling people to do stuff to me going back to actually writing code again. I mean, I think it was obvious when you were asking me about syntax in F sharp. I'm like, I don't know. Now I'm revisiting it, and I forgot to tell you to use the do bang within your async constructs in F sharp. Like, a lot of this stuff just left me that I'm revisiting now. When you want to execute statements and not necessarily functions.
Yeah. So it basically is the idea if it's a so how'd that work? So I suppose it'd be like a top, like if you're in a block or whatever. It's okay. Yeah. If it's like returning a unit, or if you just don't want to, if you want to automatically ignore results, you just do use the do then, versus everything else
You
kind of
use do,
expects that you have a result. Is that it?
yes, yeah. So you use instead of piping to an ignore at the end of a
Yeah.
statement, you can use do if it's non-async, right? So do console.write line my message. Okay.
Hmm.
If it's within the async block, like do bang. Okay, so within the async block,
Yeah.
do bang some long running task, and then you could say pipe into async.await task if that task if that's defined as a task in C sharp, so that you can interrupt with your F sharp code.
Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I have to play with that. I haven't spun back around to that. I've just been downloading the files as I go and calling it good, but I don't know. Yesterday I was tinkering in Azure a bit because this hackathon thing that I'm gonna do, even though we're an AWS shop, I just more familiar with interacting with a, Azure stuff. Um, just playing around with their media services component or resource or whatever the heck it is, and live streaming. So what I'm going to try to do for this hackathon a is a social selling platform thing.
A
So
social what?
the social, like a social selling platform. So there's a company called Whatnot that's doing this, but you see it on TikTok, Facebook. I guess eBay's got live auctions now too. The idea is like you go live and you present items, and then and then those items are available for purchase on your live stream. It's basically the gist of it. So it's combining like the act of like streaming or auctioning. It's almost like a QVC type thing.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. That's
Yeah,
what I was gonna say next.
like build your own QVC. But like I said, there's some. It's gaining some traction with the collectibles uh, groups on like this Whatnot app. Um, and so for the hackathon project, I'm looking at seeing like what would it take to actually add that to our platform, or to build out something that's similar. But I don't actually want to treat it like the same exact thing like the live auction thing. Well, I don't have auctions, but um, like how those usually run is like, hey, I set up an item, and then there's like, I think it's like it's timed, right? It's like we show this item for so long, we discuss it, we answer questions, and then like during that time, people are auctioning on it as if you had it like up on a pedestal at an actual auction, right? And you're like, this is item 1, 2, 3, let's go, boom. What I want to do is actually make it what I'd call social digitization of inventory. So I get a box of stuff in. I have to sit down and churn through it and get it into my inventory anyways. Might as well go live and stream that, and then have people be able to like get a preview of all the things that I'm getting, and then snipe items before I put them out for sale on whatever platform I'm putting out for sale on. So um, that's kind of my idea. Although I've got to figure out how to get the social selling bit of it. We've been discussing whether we should just do uh, a standard like auction type platform, or if it should be like I think the social selling would be better fit for our things because auctions I don't know, like we deal, like our platform deals with a lot of lower priced items that might be uneventful for a lot of people, and there might be like one gem in a box that's worth like auctioning. And so yeah, I don't know.
You get o- do you ever get overwhelmed with the amount of effort a project could take, in which it just seems like a death march that never ends?
No, no, not well, maybe. um
Because whatever you build, I'll speak for myself. I usually have to build tooling around it in order to in order for a development or support to be sustainable over time.
yeah, but with a hackathon it's like you just have to get it to work, right? So you can manually create resources yourself. You can, hard code URLs. You can do all of that kind of stuff. I don't know, if you've got full control over your infrastructure and your code base and everything, and like, and you have a small tight knit team that knows what they're doing. I feel like it's pretty. You can be pretty quick. It's not overwhelming at all. What's overwhelming is the idea, like when you're within an organization, when you're like, all right, I've got done with this piece. Now there's a mountain of paperwork and a 3 day wait for me to get a response on this, or a 3 week wait. And meanwhile, your competitors are moving faster than you. So that gets overwhelming, knowing that your momentum gets stopped as soon as your piece is over. That really kills me.
And, I was trying to think development teams, instead of owning or being siloed in individual to an individual service. I was trying to think that maybe it's better that a development team owns a entire product, and there's just less latency and ceremony to build, deploy, monitor, and maintain.
Yeah, well, I'm in that, but I'm even like, I think beyond that is, I think that a team should own a whole context, business context, rather than owning like just one service. Let's say services should be smaller than the context in a lot of cases. Um, so it doesn't, or so it would be the same as like a product, I suppose, but but product can be thought of as like, here's a one-off offshoot of something that does the same thing but does it in a different way or whatever, and that could be owned by another team. And it's like, I don't know, like if I um, like if I was on, let's say, a team that manages a catalog, like I feel like you should own the catalog. You should own the maintenance pages for the catalog that internal users use. You should own either the API to it that other people use. If there's like a broader context that it needs to plug into, well, you do own that too for sure. But then also, if there's like a specific vendor catalog management area, so vendors can come in, you'd own that as well. So anytime that things like interact, so you can just get a whole picture of the entire context up to the point where people are interacting with that specific, thing. Once you mix it in with other things, that's where you swap in context and other people can take it. So I don't know.
Yeah. How do you convince organizations to consider that?
I don't know.
You
You
don't.
don't. You either become a lead and try it and hope it works. or you just beat the drum and annoy people?
I have a racist question for you.
A racist question.
Uh,
Okay, shoot.
why do why are white people obsessed with Starbucks?
I have no idea. Um, I don't. I guess I'm not. You're, and also like in our area, it's Caribou coffee, not Starbucks. People go to Starbucks, but Caribou coffee is like more popular. Um, it's sugar and fat.
I
Um,
mean,
well, question is, do you?
I don't see a line full of like I don't see Starbucks consistently set up in the hood with like lines of I don't know poor black and brown people lined up, got to get their fix with lattes, you know, for the same
Yeah,
price
yeah.
as other
I was
things that
just,
they get their fix for. So it's like, why is the what's the word I'm looking for? Why is the it's not really marketing.
do
Why
you
is the
want me to?
demographic so
Do you
strong?
do you want me to give you a racist answer?
Yes.
Okay, white people are obsessed with Starbucks because they can afford it. Come on, that's
Yeah,
racist and dumb.
but
Like I don't
I
believe
mean,
that one bit. That's just
but it's like
it's the
$5 or maybe $7. It's people. I don't know how much crack costs, but like,
well, well. I mean, the thing is like there's not a lot of methed out white people that are obsessed with Starbucks and or you know really poor neighborhoods of white people obsessed with Starbucks. I think that Starbucks or Caribou, where I am, is a upper middle class construct and beyond. You know, obviously high. Like what do you call it? What's above middle class? Upper class?
yeah,
High class?
upper middle class is the term that
Yeah,
I'm familiar with.
yeah. And it
I
gets
mean,
constantly like regarded to as well. If you didn't have to do this, you could save this much. Like people who like, and there's some maybe some truth to that. Is if you're in a lower socioeconomic thing, it doesn't matter if you're white or black or whatever. It's just blacks have obviously had a harder time with the socioeconomic ladder. Um, like you probably just don't go to Starbucks because it's too expensive. I mean,
I usually go to Starbucks so I could get work done, and if I want to be social. So after I get done with this call, I'm probably going to start teasing this preacher and start challenging his belief system.
hmm,
I haven't seen him in like 3 years, but he recognized me. So
oh,
he he's studying, probably preparing for a sermon or something. I like
yeah,
messing with people,
messing
but
with people. Hmm.
I like getting in their heads, having them questioning their whole identity and everything they believe.
Hearing
No,
that
but
hero song play.
I like debating, man.
Just
I like getting people frustrated. No, but I'm looking at the Starbucks. I mean, their their business is like just on point. They literally just create a whole bunch of product, put it on the counter, and then all these people just come in and grab it off the counter and walk out. Like it's a nice running machine the way they have everything set up.
yeah, that's because nobody's messed with it yet. You know how easy it would be to just walk in and be like in an early morning when you know that there's orders sitting there, just grab it and walk out.
That's probably why it's not like in the hood.
But that's if it's well, yeah, if you offer the pre-made.
Like not
That's
even
funny.
in the hood in South Beach, they the the employees have to chaperone the
It's gotta be larger than
the
life.
lattes and the sandwiches on the counter because South Beach attracts a spectrum of people. People
Hmm.
come just like Las Vegas. People move to Miami, and then they get stuck and they can't leave and they're unemployable and they go down the downward spiral. So like you know, a lot of homeless people, in addition to libraries, hang out at Starbucks to charge their phones and take up seating, and
Hmm.
they'll try to like walk off with people's mobile delivery lattes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So they hover it over it, and I don't know, and they call people's names.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I think that Starbucks and Caribou Coffee are probably signals of affluence. I mean, in terms of relative, like if really, if you think about it, if you're middle class, upper middle class, you're fairly affluent, right? You're not really struggling, not in the way that people struggle, and so it's a sign of affluence. As is Jersey Mike's, which is sitting behind you, and all of the other kind of like expensive chain restaurants. See that?
There's something else about. So I'm in Cleveland. I don't know
Oh,
if you
okay.
noticed or not. That's why I got.
I guess I should have thought about that. Yeah, because the you're not next to a nice sandy blue beach. You're
Uh,
next to some brownish green grass and a Jersey Mike's.
yeah, but something else that's interesting is so I, so I start my mornings at like 5 in the morning. I'm at Starbucks between 5:30 in the morning. I'm at Starbucks up here, and I'm trying to get this beach delivery like done, man, while I'm still motivated. But this Starbucks is extremely so far. Both Starbucks that I've been to down here on the west side of Cleveland are extremely feminine. There's rainbow flags draped on at both sites or locations. All the guys that work here, all of them are extremely feminine, right? And so I'm starting to think that the Cleveland Starbucks are extremely biased in their hiring practices for guys. It can't be a coincidence.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I mean,
It's not just
but
Cleveland.
well, no, it's I think so. Yeah. Um,
No, I went to both locations. All the male employees at both locations are extremely feminine, and I'm like, I mean, to each their own, but I literally think that this is the culture that they want is all female or as close to female as they could get.
yeah.
And I don't know. I just found that very interesting because I couldn't ignore the theme at both Starbucks. So
Yeah, it might not be by design, but people people tend to self-organize into what they want, and we get like in the tech communities, they get like we get a lot of flack, right, for oh we're not as inclusive or whatever, but like with females versus men, right? But like if you look at some of it, it's like in a free society, women just don't tend to do those kinds of jobs. They don't want to. Now that's not all women, obviously, but talk about it like at a majority level. And this is what I think that was his James Damore or whatever got canceled over at Google. Remember that whole debacle a few years
yeah,
ago? His
yeah,
so-called thing. It's like I mean he presented a bunch of like research stuff, and there's you can comment on it obviously, but he got like fired over it. So I mean encourage any gr- gal, lady, woman, whatever who wants to get into programming and coding to do it. It's like, but and it's nice to give them ways to elevate, but I just don't see it as a problem.
oh, it's just I feel like I have this conversation with somebody almost every day,
Yeah,
but there's something wrong where you can't feel comfortable questioning why the status quo is what it is, you automatically get listed as someone that is what's the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for?
Troublemaker.
Hostile,
Yeah,
right?
you're a troublemaker, man. What are you doing?
Yeah. Anyways, hey gambler, how are you? Aha, today is a travel blog at Skull. Is that supposed to be? I don't know what Skull is.
Yeah, I don't know what skull is either. Well, I mean, in Minnesota they say SKOL, skull, a lot because that's like, oh, Scott.
Oh, okay.
Skull is like a chant that we use because it's like something Vikings would say, like skull. It's like the skull of the, because they used to like hollow out skulls and drink from them or whatever. Vikings did. So
Oh, you
skull.
mean the goblet?
Yeah. Well, it's like an actual hollowed out skull. Full. It's yeah. It's pretty
Is,
gruesome.
is your dog still kicking?
Yeah, my small one. Yeah.
The other one, the other one passed.
Yeah, a while ago. Yeah, the bigger one. Actually, I was wondering, is your dog still kicking? 'Cause I actually thought about that earlier when you said you're in Cleveland.
Yeah, I
Uh,
went to visit her. I'm
she
still
remember
paying.
you?
I'm still paying pet insurance locally in Miami. It's been 3 years. I pay like $70 a month, and I don't have a dog. And in order to get her on a plane to take her back to Cleveland or to take her back to Miami, I have to probably spend probably like $600 worth of like shots and all this other veterinary care, and I can't use my insurance in Florida to pay for it.
It's out of network.
Yeah,
Man, I just pay that stuff out of pocket. We don't buy insurance for it because it's not that expensive.
it gets expensive when you're responsible for your dog having a heat stroke and paying $5,000 to what do you call it revive her and stuff
Hmm.
like that, and then now she has some organ damage and other stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, the stuff gets expensive. I didn't know how expensive a dog was if you really loved her.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets to be expensive. So
No, I honestly think I'm gonna be able to put. If I stay unemployed, I think I could get this out in like 2 months. Register for an
2 months.
incubator. I'm feeling good about this, man. I just have to maintain my motivation. If I could consistently get up, well, when I get to Miami, I'm not going to be getting up and working at 5 in the morning. I'm going to be getting up at 5 in the morning and bicycling. But when I get back, if I could like just maintain even like 3 hours a day consistently for like the next 60 days, I think I'm set. I have a first interview today for my next job. Hopefully they don't.
Hired. Can you start tomorrow or next week?
And
Yeah.
that's the other thing, man. I'm contemplating going to the other side of planet Earth while I'm in between assignments, whether it's Vietnam, Thailand, or Philippines. I know that's going to be a huge. I know that's probably going to be. If I want to go hard, that's probably going to be $10,000. So I'm just going to blow, which probably isn't the smartest idea if I'm competing with ex Google, ex Facebook, ex Twitter employees during this economic downturn.
Yeah, I suppose because you try to command a premium, so um, there's a lot of jobs out there, just not ones that Fang or what do you call it, mange employees want to take, because they're, you know, if you've hit the top, everything's a step down, so you can
Yeah,
only kind of sit in that circle unless you're willing to like accept a simpler life.
I see more stuff based on what we discussed earlier. I see something on the chalkboard that's written, and I'm just rolling my eyes. Okay,
Okay.
I don't. Okay, I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. Yeah, I think that's going back to tech and employment. That's the most humbling thing is knowing that it's extremely likely that you're probably going to take a pay cut of probably 25% or more. Which thankfully, I'm so happy that I paid off my credit cards like in my early 20s and never relied on them again. Because I think that's what traps a lot of people, man. Well,
Yeah.
between the mortgage, I mean, like I have a car note, and obviously like monthly like crib, but thank goodness I don't have Visa, Master, Discover, because I think that's what gets people trapped, and it forces them to like what's the word? Is it overly employed? Overemployed? No, no. Overemployed is when you have hella jobs and you. What is it when you take a job that's somewhat beneath you, but
Underemployed.
underemployed? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Actually, I don't. I just don't. It must be like a psychological thing or like a. I don't know if it's an intelligence thing, but to get into like credit cards into that much debt, assuming that it's not like a like emergency or a calculated risk. Those are two things. Like you can go into a lot of credit card debt as a calculated risk to start a business, and I think that's probably like you get screwed by it, but that's the risk you're willing to take as an entrepreneur. And then there's like, well, you broke your leg and you need to put it on the credit card. Like that's another thing that get people screwed up. But if you just like bought shit and got into a ton of credit card debt, it's like, man, I don't get that. I just don't get how people do that.
Well, if this might sound ignorant, but if you're able to put away like $50,000, and maybe most people aren't able to put away $50,000, what else do you really need a credit card for? I guess some people are very impulsive. I guess some people, maybe it's a blessing that I'm tall and nothing fits me if I were to go to a mall, and maybe I would be more impulsive if I were a normal size, and I would just buy stuff anytime I would just go out to a plaza or to a mall. And maybe that's the reason why I'm not wired like that, where I just have to spend money if I go to a storefront.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not wired that way either. I don't really buy a lot of stuff. I'll get into spurts sometimes where I'm like, I'm gonna go buy some things, but it's very rare. Like we use credit cards, but it's mostly just for online because there's safety in it with online stuff because you can dispute credit card transactions and there's insurance and all that stuff for it. Um, so it's like you should use credit cards if you're doing anything online or PayPal or whatever. But
I mean, I use my debit card.
that's dangerous, man, because that thing gets gone and there's no protections for you. You suck your bank account dry. It's better to funnel it through a credit card because there's because it's not a direct link to your bank and there's consumer protections on it. Like yeah, I'd change that as soon as well, you you could probably safely do it for years and years, but and forever. But man, that's you look into it, that's kind of scary. Debit using debit cards because, like I said, it goes right out of your account and like it's gone.
I mean, they still gotta have a PIN code for large enough purchases.
Yeah, yeah, but if it gets
Well, I mean, that's that brick and mortar. To
yeah,
your to
online, if it gets, yeah,
yeah.
skimmed, man, and gets used, you're out. But credit cards,
Now,
like I said, you can
now I'm getting
dispute.
nervous because I realize I don't have my wallet on me, and I'm just hoping it's on the bed or night or dresser at home. Last time I used it was at a bar yesterday.
Hmm. Oh, do you ever go to? You ever have a few too many drinks and then like worry that you left your credit card somewhere as your wallet and just
Yeah,
like,
I
or
always
what did
do.
I do last night?
I do pocket checks every
Yeah.
time I'm outside. I probably do a pocket check probably like every half an hour to an hour. I'm
Hmm.
patting my pockets to make sure I feel a bulge of a wallet and keys.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe next Friday, maybe I could demo spinning up maybe 50% of the Azure resources that my app needs, and maybe at least bootstrap both the customer app and the courier app. Um, and then maybe 2 Fridays from now, I could spin up all the Azure resources and then demo it end to end. That's really pushing it in 2 weeks.
Hmm.
But again, if I can maintain like 3 to 4 hours a day of just going in with Pulumi, I think I could do it. I'm gonna struggle with spinning up Azure Signal R because that stuff is complicated for me to to integrate with the Signal R part is tracking courier and customer locations so that they can see each other on their apps. And that part was I had to get Microsoft support to help me get that deployed. So
So is that
Signal,
why is Signal R like a special resource within Azure? Like, isn't it just part of your ASP.NET Core stack? I mean,
it it is, but where would you host it at?
well, you just throw it into a. I mean, don't you just throw it inside of a web app?
I throw it inside Azure.
Yeah, but does it? So sorry, I actually have Azure up. Let's see what that why Signal R services.
So Signal R, I'm probably going to stumble on trying to spin that up correctly so that it integrates with my clients. And the other part would what else is there? Azure Functions, um, loading the Azure Function assemblies into a blob store and having all that stuff just automated instead of me right clicking and hit publish for what all probably 12 to 14 of my Azure functions. No, I have way more. Yeah, 12 to 14 of them.
So with Azure Signal R, do you? I'm trying to
Or should
understand.
I say my Azure services or my Azure function apps? I probably have around a dozen of them that I manually publish, which in theory I could get that automated. What were you saying?
So that's weird. So Azure Signal R, is it basically like, okay, so it's a Signal R is like a service. So your service talks to Signal R instead of hosting it within your web app. You host it as a separate service that you post into, and
Your
then the
hosted
clients
is
get a.
is kind of a hub.
Actually, need to do something with Signal R for the hackathon. So that I'm doing. So
Yeah, it's essentially I think a hub that sits in my case Azure,
Mm-hmm.
So it's centralized, and so then my courier and my customer send messages to that hub, and then that hub relays to the other endpoint, hence the other mobile app that they have a session with. Thing is, it's like a lot of this stuff is one and done, and I try to maintain notes of what I did, but like you implement something, you wire it up, and it works, and then like the next time you try to like maintain it, like 6 months, a year later, you're scratching your head like, I have no clue what the ceremony is in order to like get this published again and observe it in production.
Hmm.
And that's the scary. That, that's what I get stressed out the most about Signal R. It was so much ceremony trying to figure out how to get things right.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to manually do it, and then yeah. Hmm.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm using IAC, so all this stuff is just scripted. And then I found out something else that was going to save me another huge amount of time. I had on my radar sooner or later to write a service that would monitor all the Azure topics that I have. So I don't know if you remember, but I spin up Azure topics programmatically based on when a customer places an order. I'll take the customer unique identifier, and that'll be a suffix for all the topics that are associated to the pipeline for order fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
So for one customer that's requesting an order, I can have probably like a dozen Azure topics that are generated. And if for whatever reason that order doesn't get fulfilled and closed out, those topics would just be orphaned, still allocated on Azure and costing me money every single day just allocating storage. And with Azure topics, they just get pulled over and over and over without anybody really polling it. The system polls it. Like all
Yeah.
the infrastructure polls it, right? So I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to write a service so that maybe after 3 hours, if an order hasn't been fulfilled and this stuff is still orphaned out there, I gotta have a service do housekeeping, clean all that stuff up. And then I think I was in the shower and I realized that maybe there's a property that just has an expiration for a topic, and then I
Oh,
don't have to
TTL.
write a service at all. And sure enough, when I Google, yeah, it's called I don't know what it's called. It's called like idle delay something.
Hmm.
So I set it for 90 minutes, and I got that done this morning. So yeah, 90 minutes from when a customer requests an order to when all those topics that get generated get deleted automatically. I
It's
know I'm
not
boring you,
90
but
minutes from. It's not 90 minutes from the last event. It's from the
no.
last.
It's 90 minutes from when they decide to place an order, and all these Azure topics get created to relay messages back and forth between the customer and courier.
Hmm.
They live for 90 minutes, and that's it. I mean, it's past 10. It could be configured in a web config, the 90 minutes as the
Hmm.
expiration for the topics that will receive it as a argument in a function. But that's it.
You ain't gone games. Yeah,
How loud is the background music?
I've heard all of it,
Yeah.
so I'm just listening to it. Say my name. Hmm. Yeah, I'll have to figure out Azure Signal R for the chat component, and then there's like a some data streaming bit.
Well, let me know when you want my source code.
I think I
Actually,
might.
you could go to my blog. I already have it there. Hold up.
I'm gonna manually create everything and configure everything though, because it's super should be not too bad, I would
I
assume.
mean, you can do that, sure. It's just SignalR isn't something that
I'm
you're
not
going to
building a
be
web app though
programming
either.
to all the time.
But I've
So
I've used it enough where I understand generally how to use it. I did try using SignalR within. I had an ASP.NET Core app that had Orleans running in it, and I was trying to get a grain to post to the SignalR hub, and I could not, for the life of me, get it to work.
yeah,
But
here's
I
my
think
notes.
if it's a separate service, I think it would work super easily. So I'm guessing that you create a that SignalR is configured in this case, and we just create the resource and see what happens.
Thankfully, I maintain notes in my blog. The deploying part was so hard. I'm surprised I wrote this a year ago. I mean, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I wonder why they charge it this way. It's kind of like premium pricing tier is 1 million messages per day included with 1,000 connections. That's like if you're building something scaled out, that wouldn't be like
Here goes another SignalR blog post. Yeah, all the stuff is here, and it's in C sharp. You can thank me later.
like I wonder why you would do this, like why you would choose SignalR as a service rather than just include it in your .NET application, unless it's just for ease of use. But
Why I would do it? Um, because everything was in Azure, and so I just wanted to be consistent and then stamp it on my resume.
well, yeah, but I mean, like, why would you
And plus,
choose to do
it
this?
scales. So for me, it was ignorant, right? And it's like, damn, I need some type of WebSocket solution only when both parties are present that they can stream messages back and forth. And I mean, SignalR, they just bundled into Azure. I'm like, okay, well, it's already there. So I don't know. I didn't want to step out of Azure if I didn't have to.
Well, no, I get using Azure, but if you deploy a web app with SignalR in it, like you just deploy your own SignalR app. Like, why would you use their SignalR app as as a service?
It's probably a blog post that answers that question or attempts to.
I mean, it might be like easy mode, but there's also like limitations on this, right? So, I mean, 1,000 connections per unit. Oh, I see. So that's per unit, and so you can have as many units as you want. So you scale out your units. I see. Oh man, I should send them a picture of this and tell them they need to fix accessibility on this page. You can't read what they actually written when you have the pricing tier selected.
I
$61
was
per month per
I
unit.
was looking at Palumi's documentation. They have
Yeah.
grammar issues on their documents and bug messages or error messages. I'm like, kind of makes you think that they probably offshored some of that documentation or outsourced.
Hmm. And I'm excited to build out this hackathon project though. I'm like,
You
actually,
going
I
to
was
write
doing.
it in F sharp for your hackathon, or you're going to stay with C sharp?
No, I got to go with C sharp because just to make sure that I don't. I
Faster.
haven't built anything with F sharp that I know. Like, I haven't built anything that's not a puzzle yet or a console input or reading. So I don't. There's a lot I just don't know how to do. But
I would recommend domain model with F sharp as a tool, and then once you have those models, then you can go ahead and build out the actual solution in C sharp.
yeah, I
And if
have
you
thought
want, you
about.
can still reference the types that you
Yeah,
already domain modeled.
yeah, but for a hackathon though, it's I've got 3 days with like 8 hours each. So the I actually thought about though going because I've seen all these things about Chat GBT or GPT or whatever Chat OpenAI Chat GPT. how people are like building programming with it. I've actually thought about, well, what if I just go on there and see if it can tell me how to do all of this? Like, have you tried that out yet? I haven't tried it yet,
Never heard of it.
but because you go on to this chat GPT and ask it, hey, can you create me an F sharp script that does Pulumi to do this, and see if it actually succeeds at it? Because
Gambler
everyone's like,
says
oh,
he's Gambler says he's tried it before.
I should try it really quick.
What's so good about it? I mean, I never heard of it, but apparently Gambler
It's
and
like,
you.
yeah, it's like all of the it's kind of like all of the rage right now in terms of like this is gonna change the world. Fun. Got what my password was.
I want to get this project done so bad.
Mm, Here, if I get this, if I get this up and running, we'll try it quick. So, um, done. Okay. Okay. We'll see what this does. All right. How do I share here? Present screen, share screen, and we want to go screen 2. All right. Share that up. Is it Pulumi? Plul.
Pulumi. Well, kind of gives you arrogant junior dev answers. Trivial stuff is right, especially if it's like in Doc, Stack Overflow. However, it also gives you very bullish answer, which sounds right at first sight. Who's the guy we're referring to?
Well, here, share my screen. We'll go through it. So what's something that you what's the current next task you have to do with F sharp? I'm guessing that this isn't going to succeed, but we'll see. So it's like
I'm the
it's
next
kind of
task
like
is
Copilot, right?
the next task is um I don't know, writing. I mean, everything is infrastructure is code right now. Like this
Or
is
what
the
was the
last
thing you were
piece.
writing yesterday, like or the last couple days? What was it to
In
accomplish?
Pulumi,
Yeah.
it was creating a resource group. It was creating service bus, and today I'm trying to get service bus topics and service bus
Pulumi. Is
subscriptions wired up.
that right here?
Yeah,
Create a script in F sharp using Pulumi that what was the thing? Creates some what was
I mean
if
it's
you were to tell me to do this, like to create something in Pulumi
you could just say create script in Pulumi
that does what?
that creates Azure resources. Is that too generic?
No, let's try it. See what it says. I haven't tried this before, so I just there's probably a lot of really simple things with code, like Gamler said,
It's probably a
trivial stuff.
Cambodian on the other end of it typing you messages.
Oh no, like
What is this?
this is a creates an Azure storage account from a resource group using Pulumi in F sharp.
What? What just happened?
It created it. That's what I was saying.
What
People are
is
going nuts over
this?
this.
Hold up. This is weird. create a script in F Sharp using Pulumi that creates Azure resources, and it gave you F Sharp. It gave you the imports of Pulumi. It even told you what the resource group was. Where did this come from?
This is the AI that's doing it. This open chat. This is why people are going crazy. It's because they're like, I don't have to know how to code. I can just ask this thing how to make the code, and then
I
I'll just
mean, like
copy
I
it.
I recognize the syntax, and I'm like, man, that Cambodian on the other side, man, he's pretty
Well, give it
fast.
something more complex. Like I don't
I
know.
mean, this demonstrated enough. Create no, you could say write a merge sort given birthdays.
it just did that with the other one. So oh, I didn't get the time to. Oh. Is that what you did basically? You set the default message time to no, that's the time to live. So it got me wrong. The top what I meant to say is the topic. So I was just being dumb. So let's try this. I meant the life
Chat.
of the topic, not the let's see, the TTL of the topic, not the messages on the topic. Lock duration, is that what was the thing that you ended up using?
No,
Okay.
it's um, it's like idle.
Or maybe if I just wrote it in plainer English, like. But what did you say? Create a merge sort?
Hold up, it's called auto delete on idle. That's the property name
Hmm.
for a topic or service bus. No, for a topic or a subscription, it's called auto delete on idle.
Let's see if I can auto delete on idle property.
Yeah.
There, it found it finally.
Is this just .NET specific?
No, no. So here, let's do write
This is
a.
I never heard of this.
I think it's like I feel like this is very similar to like Git, like Copilot. It's just adding additional context around it. Um, right. So, um, what's an obscure language that wasn't there one like you were using that was like very type constraining or something like that? Can't remember what the hell that
Uh,
was.
who's? Oh, I don't know who that is. You said something that's type constraining. Oh yeah, I was saying that wrote a script in F Sharp that prints 99 bottles of beer on the wall with minimum characters.
Hmm.
This is amazing, man.
Yeah, like I said, it's blowing people's minds. It's kind of scary though, but you have to know that the like be able to interpret the results. But to write a bunch of
You know what I'm gonna do when I start whiteboarding at my next interview? They're like, "Hey, I need you to write a merge sort." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna share my screen, and then I'm just gonna go to this chat, write a merge sort. I'm just gonna copy paste. Ta-da!
have okay, write a closure script that generates F sharp code that does a merge sort. Oh, see, it's actually doing. It's not generating the F sharp code, so it's like one layer remove. It's actually just writing the merge sort, right? Oh no, never mind. I lied. There it is. Let rec equals merge.
That's crazy." Gambler says a good, humorful summary of it. I refer to Chat GPT. Okay, I gotta take a call. I'll see you next time. You sent that at almost 10 minutes ago. Yeah, that's crazy. I never heard of this. I feel like this could easily be integrated into Visual Studio as like a
Isn't it
side
GitHub
panel.
Copilot? Isn't that what it is? GitHub Copilot.
No, with GitHub Copilot,
You give it a prompt like,
you're not telling it what to do. You're typing in code and it has suggestion
no,
completion.
no. You can
Yes.
tell Copilot to do this. It'll write the code for you in
How
big chunks.
how would you tell code? Are we talking about the same thing?
I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about I'm talking about in Visual Studio.
Determine whether the sentiment of text is positive using a web service, and it doesn't. That's why I'm not super like blown away by ChatGPT because I'm pretty sure it's using the same underlying thing as what Copilot is, or
That's not
um,
in Visual Studio though, is it?
I think it's got Visual Studio inclusion. Maybe it's just in code spaces. I don't know. But you can do other things like write me a story about Scott. I don't know. Does it know people?
I doubt it, unless it's looking at GitHub.
A really short story about Scott.
Okay, so it finally tapped out.
No, it's thinking. I don't think it tapped out. I can't imagine it would tap out on this. It's a pretty simple
You
prompt,
just
right?
caused it its first denial of service.
Yeah. Here you go. Wouldn't have this been nice to have back in college when you could just be like, oh, I need to write an essay about
You
this?
remember you remember Twitter's Tay?
Huh?
You remember Tay off of Twitter,
No.
the racist bot that was a Microsoft generated bot, and like it learned from the internet, and so
Oh, yeah, that's right. No,
you,
I
you
do
want
remember that now. Yeah, that's right.
you want to start asking like you want to start asking some really difficult questions to this chat, see how it responds.
So, yeah, that's the thing. I don't know that it knows people. I think it knows.
Ask it about Hitler.
Yeah, I think there are like rules around that kind of stuff though. But the coding bit of it is really kind of interesting. Um, like what I'd be is like, write me a oh yeah, you're my fictional character. So it knows contextually, but it doesn't
Oh
know
wow.
like who you are, like whatever. So write me a C# script using Microsoft Orleans at
Like this is like a Ouija board, except it's way more advanced.
using Microsoft Orleans.
What's you on Orleans?
Write me a highly scalable
Question is somewhere in
chat.
a queue.
Hmm.
What's he referring to? Question is somewhere in a queue.
He was saying that the weight.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the pauses that are happening here. Service fabric. That service fabric.
why does it look like it's actually like typing in the code?
I don't know. It's building it out line by line, I guess. I don't like your constructors. Oh, see, it's not actually doing the full thing. It's just showing me how to set one up. A silo communication listener. I don't know what those are though. Service fabric. Orleans service. Yeah. So Orleans, let's see. Chat rooms on the Orleans service, a special type of service provided by Microsoft and is designed to be highly scalable. Service uses Orleans service listener class to handle communication with clients, and the service base class provides infrastructure for managing the service's lifecycle, scaling it across multiple nodes. You deploy it to Service Fabric cluster and connect it to your chat room. Server will automatically handle increasing workloads and scale reliably, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. What else do you want to give it? What's
No,
the
I think I'm done. I wanted to ask it some like I wanted to
stupid questions?
incriminate it.
Write me an F# script.
Write me a love poem.
Connect a person on a beach wanting food with a courier nearby to pick up the food and handles the entire transaction using Azure. Oh, wait, how about this?
It's going to provide a link to my repo.
Built on Dapper. I guess I asked for a script. I should have said multiple solutions. But I don't know how long it would go. I'm just curious like what's its actual extended capabilities are. I like your strong typing. Not. It's a very simple answer. So it's like you request food, you acknowledge, you have an ACK message, and then you complete it. So isn't this nuts though?
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's not a very complex answer, but it's like,
It has a subscribe in there.
yeah. So Dapper. I wonder if it'll give me the Dapper scripts too, or and the Dapper configuration.
Dude, I'm gonna start using this and just posting answers in Stack Overflow.
No, that happened actually.
Copy paste.
Stack Overflow actually had to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use this, and I'm gonna get like 100,000 points off of Stack Overflow, all within 10 minutes.
Oh, it's still waiting to figure out. It's still thinking about something. Um, yeah. Sorry, we can hang it up here.
Okay.
New thing to for you to explore, anyways. Come back, be like, Sean, I used this Chat GPT and I rebuilt all of this in a day.
It's called
And it works.
chatopenapi.com.
Just put in Chat GPT and you'll find it.
What does GPT stand for?
I don't really know. Uh,
Okay.
GPT General Pre-trained Transformer, I guess.
Yeah,
Still
that was
thinking about
cool.
something here.
I'm about to get my Stack Overflow points up now. Thank you.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right, we'll catch up. See you.
See you. Yep. Bye.
All right. See you, Gambler.